All right, hello, all of our Mountain Birdwatch citizen scientists out there. This is going to be a brief tutorial on how to access our brand new, as of June 2018, online database for you to enter your Mountain Birdwatch data. I am Jason Hill, the current coordinator for Mountain Birdwatch, and you'll be able to find the link for this new online database on our training materials webpage, which you are probably already intimately familiar with. I certainly hope. And there'll be a link somewhere on here. I'll also send you each individually a link with your username credentials and a temporary password to access this website, the Forest Ecosystem Monitoring Cooperative, or FEMC. Once you're at this page, via the link on the website or from the email, you'll simply log in and enter your username and temporary password here. Once you've created a password and logged into the system, go ahead and go into your profile, which you'll see right here. Edit your profile, and you can change your password, which I suggest you do. I don't think there's any sensitive data in here, but you might as well do that so only you are in control of the account. And you can update your name and personal information about you. At the moment, we don't have address in here, but we'll be adding that in soon. And the address you enter in here will only be used for when I mail out your route documents in April and May of each year. So, update your profile, and then to enter data, you get your data sheets in hand, of course, and just click on Mountain Birdwatch. If you're somehow involved in more other projects through Vermont Center for Ecostudies, like the forest bird monitoring, you might see additional projects listed here. So you'll see your route name listed atop here for year 2018, and you obviously will have a different route. And don't worry, whoever has adopted double top mountain, I'm not actually entering data for your account. This is a dummy account. Interest in helping next year, please fill this out. Of course, you're going to say yes. Down here, you can select any individual route. Hold down the shift key to select multiple routes. Like maybe you have a preference for doing routes that begin with the letter A. I don't know. Good for you. And click out of there. And then you'll see ready for entry. All right, let's go. All right. The first thing you're going to see is, now you can see these are pre-populated. I've already been in here, but they won't be for you. It's going to ask you about the date you first visited. Remember, the surveys are conducted anytime in June, but let's say you visited your route for the first time on June 1st. Okay, so you'd enter over here June 1st. Great. 2018. Did you encounter any problems on the route as a whole? This refers to the entire route. For example, maybe there were a lot of blowdowns on the trail and you had to climb off the trail a number of times, or maybe there are other, like the road was out and prevented you from parking at your normal place. You had to park 2 miles down the road, further than before. Then you might say yes here, and it's going to require you to enter a comment. Okay, in this case, we don't have any problems that affected the entire route, so we'll say no. Total miles driven, this includes the miles you drive from your home to the route, including when you're scouting the route, if you went to the route multiple times, all of your miles. This is just your best guesstimate. This gives us an idea of how much effort our volunteers have to put out to participate in Mountain Birdwatch. And same thing with total time on the route. Now, this actually refers to all the time you read through the protocol manual at home, practiced your bird songs, everything, anything associated with conducting your Mountain Birdwatch count for this year, maybe even corresponding and reading my emails. I would include that time in here. So I said 30 hours on this route. Okay, and I believe this is hours, yeah. So, and then click next. All right, now I've already partially entered some data, so that's why this is pre-populated. But let's say that station number 1 is in a location on a separate trail from the rest of the routes, and that trail was closed for some reason. The bridge was out, or it was just too difficult to access. You might click on unable to visit, and a window is going to pop up and say, okay, well, why were you unable to visit? Just tell us something about it. And we need that information for our records. And that, of course, just refers to these individual station names or individual stations. So station 1 couldn't visit. But let's say we were able to visit the rest of the stations. So we'll go ahead and enter data for station number 2 by just simply clicking on enter data. Okay, actually, sorry about that. I had some problems recording data entry for stations 2 and 3. So we'll just pretend, not station 2, we'll pretend to enter data for station number 4 at this point. So we'll click enter data. Here again, we are Double Top Mountain, station number 4, the latitude, longitude. You can look at it on a Google map, and there's the approximate elevation for that point. You see that it's already pre-populated. We were there on June 1st, and the time of the first point count visit at sampling station number 4. I'm not sure what time that would be, but maybe it's approximately 7 a.m. or 7:10 a.m. Let's say. Okay. The wind code, just choose that from the drop-down menu. Say it was calm and there was clear, a few clouds. It was a beautiful day. Now, if you encountered any problems that affected the entire station, then you'll want to tell us about that here. And these refer to the entire 20-minute point count periods. So, for example, say yes, you're required to enter a comment. You can make this box larger doing this. And again, this is just an example. And if you start typing, this information will go away. But basically, you could tell us here, like, oh, I couldn't perform the counts, or I did perform the counts, but I had a hard time hearing due to the loud water from nearby stream. That's just 5 meters away from the station. I suggest you figure out if you can move this station for subsequent years or something like that. Or maybe lots of blown down trees between station number 2, station number 3, and station number 4, and it takes half hour to get there or something like that. In this case, we'll assume we didn't have any problems. And then for detected species, you just tell us if you detected any of the focal species or non-focal species like American robin or blue jays during the entire 20-minute period. So let's say we detected black-capped chickadees and a winter wren and one bignell's thrush and some non-focal species. Click continue. And you'll see here that there are 4 columns here. And each one of these columns refers to a single 5-minute point count period. And you note that the time of the point count has been pre-populated. So we said we did our first 5-minute count at the 4th station at 7:10 in the morning. So the second count should begin at 7:15. If that isn't the case, like for some reason you had to delay the count, the second 5-minute count, maybe that rained intensely for a few minutes or something, and then you waited 15 minutes for the birds to return to normal, you could edit the time here, and then these fields would also automatically update. So for each one of these 5-minute point count periods, this is the first 5-minute point count period, you simply enter, of course, the number, just like your data sheets, the total number of individuals that you detected at that distance. So maybe we had 2 black-capped chickadees during this 5-minute count, less than 50 meters away, and 1 winter wren calling way off in the distance. During the second 5-minute period, maybe we also had 2 black-capped chickadees nearby, and maybe a common raven called off in the distance, and we heard that. You'll note that there's no place to enter common raven. In the future, we might think about adding blank rows for people to add in species, non-focal species. But at the moment, if you wanted to tell us about non-focal species, you could say down here, like 1 common raven at less than 50 meters. And that's optional, of course. You don't have to tell us about non-focal species. And this simply affects how we report your data to eBird, whether or not we report your data as a complete checklist or not. So let's say that's all you heard for that 5-minute period was the common raven and the 2 chickadees. During the third 5-minute point count, maybe you heard a chickadee greater than 50 meters away, a bignell's thrush calling off in the distance, and again, another non-focal species. Maybe you had 1 blue jay less than 50 meters away. And again, you don't need to tell us how you detected the species. We used to do that, whether you heard the bird by song, by ear, or by sight. That's not information we need to collect anymore. And then during the fourth 5-minute point count period, again, maybe you had a black-capped chickadee you detected less than 50 meters away, a bignell's thrush far away, and a winter wren nearby. Now, if you have any problems during this 5-minute point count period, during each one of these 5-minute periods, you could tell us here. And if you say yes, then we require you to report something. Again, like a sudden rainstorm or a loud group of hikers walked by during this 5-minute period and maybe affected my ability to count birds. Or maybe if you saw some really cool observation you want to tell us about, like I saw a yellow-bellied flycatcher carrying food material. And if you're in Maine and you're participating in the Maine Breeding Bird Atlas, you could also include breeding bird codes here for the species you detect, and I'll make sure that gets to the right place as well. If you've accidentally included a species that you need to remove for some reason, you could just remove it by clicking here. You want to add a species, you could click the Add Species button down there to add a new row. Pretty straightforward, I think. You need to review this information very carefully at this point and make sure all this information is correct. And once you're sure that all these totals here match the totals on your raw data sheets, then you'll click Visit Complete for this particular sampling station. Oh, sorry, required value. Yep, see, there you go. So the computer caught me. Program caught me. There are no problems, and so there are no problems. So you can still enter comments for these fields. And we'll say Visit Complete. Okay. Now, here you go on this page. This is just a summary of all the information that we entered for station number 4. And you'll scroll down and you'll see all of the information. And again, this is one more opportunity for you to double check yourself that these columns match everything you have on your raw data sheets. You could go back and change it. Once you click confirm at this screen, there's no way to go back and change the data at this moment. Maybe in the future, we'll think about ways to have observers go back from this stage and correct mistakes, but you have 2 opportunities to confirm that your data are correct before you officially submit them. If for some reason you caught a mistake later, after you've already entered the data for station number 4, just send me an email and we'll see what we can do. Now, we can try to update the information in the database. Now, if you have any problems with the database, we've tested this on 3 separate web browsers and it works flawlessly for the most part, but the 100 people testing this out, I'm sure you're going to figure out errors that we did not encounter. If you have any problems whatsoever, send me jhill@vtecostudies.org an email, whether it's related to the database or suggestions for future improvements or something that didn't work right or some quirk you noticed, something you'd like to see changed or added. I am happy to hear all about that. Please send me your suggestions and your criticisms. The folks at FEMC and I are committed to improving and maintaining this database for the years to come. And we want this to be as easy and accessible to you as possible. So you can just click on the Contact MBW and you'll get an email link from me, or just send me an email personally. And thank you tremendously for doing your mountain birdwatch surveys and for completing your data. After you've submitted your data through the database, you want to make photocopies of your data sheets, keep the photocopies for yourself, and mail the originals to me at my office. And our interns will double check your data sheets to what you entered online and make sure everything agrees. And if there's any disagreement, we will get in touch with you. So reach out to me if you have any concerns, questions, comments. Happy to help you through it. And thank you so much, everybody. All the best.